I'm Michelle.
We're with the Plant Medicine Path.
Yes.
Today we have a really good friend of ours, Dr. Scott from Soul Quest, where I started my journey, and he had a very big impact on my journey, and I also think on Michelle's.
On a lot of people that have come through to the medicine, and I mean, he knew my family before I even knew him.
Yeah.
All the family, everybody.
All of them. So we're just grateful to
see you guys.
Great to see you. So tell us what's going on.
A bit of a background, and we'd like to hear about your background.
So I mean, I'm down here in the rainforest in the Amazon. Before we get started on the story and the great reveal to Dr. Scott, why did he leave? I hear these questions all the time to start these things with opening prayer. Is that cool with you guys? Maybe we just take a minute.
Yeah.
Go. Okay. So if we can we just all and just let it go. And so let's make it our soul's intention to turn with as one in unity. And let's just begin to sense our divine nature. Created us, you who sustain us, and you who calls upon us to live in peace in this world. You, the great indwelling spirit within each and every one of us right now, this gathering. We know that there are no circumstances, no person that can block us from your infinite love that dwells within and moves throughout each and so it is with the deepest reverence and gratitude for all that we give you praise, and so it is. Amen.
Aho.
Hey, aho. Yeah. Aho. Yeah. So it's been going on. This has been a pretty amazing year. That a lot of people know who I am, and there are lots of new people around. We have as listeners that may not know who I am. So quick, I'll give you the little backgrounder. I'm an integration psychologist, a psychedelic integration psychologist, and my background is kind of unique. It's somewhere in this intersectional psychology and functional medicine and the Amazonia that we all are big fans of, and my specialties have really as a practitioner of functional medicine and as alternative medicine. Background in the worked in the University of Miami and the Military in various different divisions and departments, and have some areas of expertise like and psychotherapy and stuff like that. But that stuff you read about it. It's a lot more interesting reading about it, I think, than here telling you about it. So,
right.
Yeah. So, to Ecuador here in the rainforest, which I love. It's my new home. And sometimes you think about how the universe works. And, I never in a million years that I'd be living in the rainforest with in the an indigenous tribe. I did not have that on my radar that I never thought of. And the universe said, we're going to plant you here, and there's a reason. That's an interesting story we'll get into in a minute. But here I was one of the three leaders in one that those people that helped build what I would call the Ayahuasca Church. It was called the Soul Quest Church, Soul Quest Ayahuasca Church, where we met. And I was the senior minister there, the staff psychologist, and for also the on the board of directors. I mean, this is a church serves medicine probably to more than 20,000 people. A really interesting place. So I've heard a lot of speculation over this past year about why I left SoulQuest, and it really seems like there's some kind of funky this whole mess. It's like, why did I leave? Mm-hmm. And it heard that a lot of people got their feelings hurt or were really upset, and some of them here was the minister of your church and this church that I love so much, and then boom, overnight my whole life had changed, and not much conversation. Just very few people really know what happened, and so for those people that didn't get a personal one-on-one, what happened, what was going on, I'm sorry about I understand what that's like, somebody, and there's a lot of confusion, and I'm sorry about that. And just so that there were investigations that were going on at that time, and they still continue. And so a big part of just being quiet and moving on quietly, don't stir the pot, leave it alone, and just not interfere with what was happening in these different fronts. And so that kind of stuff, I don't know much about. It's complicated, and you can get in big trouble. And so I want everybody that SoulQuest is my tribe, and I miss being together. And I loved being the senior minister at SoulQuest, and it's an amazing community. I'm talking about you guys, the community, the great volunteer that we have. I mean, just unlike anything that I've ever experienced. So today I just wanted to set the record straight, like that I left so quickly and quietly. There were some very great stances that God, it's just so surreal. Like it reads like a movie in my head. I just don't understand how it all unfolded the way it did. But so if you recall, we had been working on the legalization of SoulQuest, in the in the United States. We were working closely with the DEA. I think this process cost the church, it was anywhere from $1 million. The number was always changing, but a lot of legal expenses were in this direction. And I'm left with this thing that the DEA was pretty tricky, and because for a year they seemed to be let me just say pretending to be, maybe that they were just pretending to work with us to develop what this pathway or this golden standard or a model or template, the safe and responsible use of a controlled substance like ayahuasca in this modern world. We're talking about ayahuasca ceremony. So this was what we were doing. We had, the DEA had received a lot of applications for exemptions, and I know they did them. So there were a lot of people that had come to SoulQuest or had traveled and they were leaning into this medicine world and church, and they want to do it legally. And so the DEA was really, this is the pathway. This will be the model that will set an example for all the future out there. And so you know, that's what this was about for us, you know, was collaborating with, you know, United States government to help, you know, to develop this goal. And so, you know, we had a first class medical team, you know, at SoulQuest, Dr. Milbrandt, you know, MD with, you know, background in emergency med, you know, our medical staff with, you know, licensed paramedics. I mean, an absolute model for taking intakes and, you know, all the evaluations, problems during, you know, that whole thing's so important, you know. And then we had over 50, you know, professionally trained and certified in psycho-spiritual integration through you. And so, I mean, this is a great organization that I think are high on, you know, psychedelic integration. And so I love that are people who were interested in this plant medicine path and wanted to know more involved in Soul Quest. And it was one of our standards. You got to get certified. You want to be a facilitator there. You have to be professionally trained and know what this is about. That was, you know, really intense certification. And so they did an amazing job. And then we had leaders at Soul Quest. We're talking about 20,000 people coming through this organization. A lot of lessons learned. It's a lot of, you know, live on the ground, you know, and so our facilitators were, you know, very well trained, experienced. You know, we were, you know, just earnestly providing, you know, all that we could to create this, you know, this safe standard. And you know, I just think that it's really important, you know, to have a standard that's you know, establishing the, you know, the highest protocols, setting the bar high, and you know, this is really about safety. And so, you know, we're talking about, you know, this medicine work, or getting the medicine in, so that's importing, and then you're, you know, you're making your manufacturing, and then you're storing it, and then you're, you know, dispensing. You know, this is a controlled substance in the eyes of the government, and it's vulnerable. I don't want to see it just getting out there, and you know, people, you know, stealing it or getting harmed. So, you know, this whole thing is about establishing, you know, really good, you know, best practices, you know, for anyone who's gonna, you know, go to a ceremony. And so, you know, yeah, I mean, absolute, you know, mentions. I think that, you know, that's why, you know, that's why we wanted to fully, you know, with the government. So basically, you know, were needed for, you know, for safety, to dispense medicine, you know, protocols. And so that's what we did. You know, we modified some of our policies at Soul Quest to, you know, to respond to they had made. And we had, you know, security cameras everywhere. We had them, you know, in double lockable rooms, and, you know, certain people had keys. I mean, this, like Fort Knox, you know, great security. But, you know, I mean, that's so, you know, it's like as if you were going to a pharmacy with the controlled substance, you know, mandatory requirements. And so that's what we were trying to model is, you know, those, you know, public safety controls. And so with the DEA agents, I'm talking about looking up our addresses. They just full 100%, you know, sincere and enthusiastic with disclosure. I mean, clear down to the license plates on cars, you know, all the while. Yes, really, you know, a lot of, you know, disclosure. So, you know, all the while, you know, we're, you know, being led to believe that, that through, all of us, the individuals at the church that were cooperating our information in these interviews and the whatever they call it, the investigation, legally protected from, self-incrimination or and it's like the attorneys that we have. I'm not with the church now, but the church that we had some of the best attorneys. Like $600 an hour. I mean, just crazy. And these guys, they'd made a deal with the DEA, and they set the ground rules for full disclosure, and so that we can all talk openly about medicine, and so this meant that we weren't going to incriminate ourselves, that we were somehow involved in importing and manufacturing of this illegal controlled substance. Really important. It was just really important. There was trust. We trusted that we had this agreement, and our lawyers are telling us we have this agreement, that something. And I know personally that I really to help this this of ayahuasca, because the medicine communities around the country that just seem to be pop. And I think that legalization would mean that no one would. So that means that you have access to licensed professional medical staff, licensed professional psychologists, therapists, because stuff happens. We need that. People come to an ayahuasca ceremony, something happens sometimes. Something happens, and sometimes a person can have a psychotic break after while they're in the medicine, and this requires really skilled, trained professionals. And so when it's not legal, you can't attract those kinds of people into this world. And I think that's vital. It should be I think it should be legalized for the sake of the public safety. And so legalization would also mean, and I think this is so important too, was the ability to do clinical studies and trials. It's like, if it's not legal, they can't do it. They have to go to other countries where it's legal and do. I mean, Johns Hopkins University has done great studies with, the medicine, for example. I mean, we need to find out more and more and more about the psilocybin, the benefits of, ayahuasca, and, clinically, works, and, and all that kind of. There's so many benefits, and so, that's really, how we approach this whole, and so, in this 200 or 300 that the DEA had submitted or to the Justice Department, online in their, in the court dockets, they admitted something to the effect that, although we had talked about an agreement about, disclosure and about having, discussions, they said that, we talked about it, but formally agreed, and there was nothing on paper. And so, basic agreement. So that means that we're screwed. We can do to you whatever we want. And that to me was, pretty shocking to hear that, because, we believe that the DEA had, said in good faith that we could, we can do this. And then the DEA had rejected our, application for exemption, that it was based on our lack of religious sincerity. And so I hadn't been to any of our Sunday church services in the Maloka or us, because that's what we're about. And talking about was ayahuasca is used as a medical treatment. Something, our work was not grounded in the our sacred ayahuasca manifesto. And so they said 300 or 200 300 page report, whatever it was. They had stated in this report months of interviews with church leadership and volunteers or whatever, that that only one person had mentioned anything about the ayahuasca manifesto, and hence and our religious exemption was denied. And our exemption is essential. So now $600 hour attorneys that are advising us, like they would tell you, only answer the questions. Don't go off into crunchy granola or anything. Like, answer question A with answer A, and don't stray. That's what we were told, and that's what we did. And so the DEA, they asked us many questions about the SoulQuest natural healing, all of the services, the specific services, and the spiritual integration, and details about the legal structure, and treatment, and this treatment, and this treatment. And it's like, what's the laser used for, and what's the IV therapy is used for? And so all these specific questions are question A with answer A. They never ever once about any religious sincerity, nothing about our spiritual beliefs, manifesto, nothing about where we're coming from. And if you know anything about me personally, I can talk about that kind of stuff for hours until I'm blue integration groups. It goes and goes, and it's just like like, I love the problem talking about how how ayahuasca is this portal to the divine, and they don't ask us these questions. And so this is where they come up with this idea that that it's only treatments. And so questions about these specific treatments, it was just, when I read the report, when we were getting our rejection, it was remarkable. It's like, what is this? It's like, and so it's like, you're not so inclined to when you're attorney, to talk about this other stuff, not to talk about it. And so the DEA had selected some of questions that led to what I would say would be a distorted of what we're all about, and and then claim we have no religious sincerity. Bunk. Absolute bunk. And so then came the final determination that we were not allowed to serve the medicine. And so I think we all kind of like were shocked, but when we received that final determination, it meant that an illegal operation, you can't legally be serving. We don't, because it was denied. And so that meant that, I guess, it had to go into another level. But basically, my attorneys had told me that the order for cease and desist still stands. And so I'm just going actions. This is, my personal interpretation of what I've been, the big, the DEA documents that, I spent hours and with all the reports and, all of the there were so many exhibits, everybody had, everything had an exhibit. All of this stuff is public information. And, and even my attorney had sent me some, and all this legal stuff to me is all confusing. I'm reading this and it's like, I don't really understand it all. So we just never expected that the DEA reject, our request for an exemption. And they'd give indications that everything that we were doing was right in the right direction and nothing to the contrary. And so get this rejection. And around that same time, the story just goes really, really south. This phone call that was really disturbing from some people that were very concerned about welfare and about potentially happening. Now, this is people that were reaching out to me that were credible, reputable, that you probably know or read their books or feel like, these people in the ayahuasca community. And I trusted them. I felt that these people, they wouldn't have called me, if there wasn't some, I didn't know.
Right.
But, then I got a call from my attorney that it just with this 300 pages from the DEA. And he was just, very concerned about me in big trouble. And, we're talking serious illegal trouble. Just back up for a second. The person who called me, that what I call, just leave it that, just to leave them anonymous. I was warned that there was a possible sting operation that could be going down at any moment, and better get myself a criminal defense attorney pretty quick, be about to go to jail.
Right.
Just like, what? What? I never signed up for that. And I was told that was because the documents that the DEA had put together, that this was because this is my attorney, is because of my involvement in arranging for fine and leave to the church in Orlando.
Right.
And I could be held criminally liable when facing up to 30 years or more in prison, because the amounts of DMT that they found in some shipments that's been confiscated earlier during a raid in U.S. Customs and Border Control and state sheriffs and that this material was action. And so I'm just like, really, I mean, we were doing anything illegal. I was always told by the church attorneys, protected under the religious freedom.
Right.
And none of this is illegal. We've been, through customs, through, for years. So, this was like, really, like, as if that weren't enough. as if that weren't enough, calling me, is warning me about the possible, a sting operation, another sting operation by some IRS perhaps, or some law enforcement agency, federal or state. But they were warning me that something bad was about to go down, and might get caught in the middle of this, like church. No, and it was you don't want to be there. And the attorneys, my attorneys had said, everything you're doing, get yourself the hell out of there. And being told that there was criminal investigation that was happening, that was targeting, was the one of the founders of SoulQuest, and and they advised me just to be, that something really bad is can happen, and this will just ruin my career. And they said I was one of the good guys, and that I know to get out of there before shit hit the fan. So hurry up, decide what you're gonna do, and get out of there. I don't know I don't know what it was all about, but to go after Chris Young, because he was the guy in the federal government. It's like
So
they're gonna
the
get
ball
you.
rolling. So that got the ball rolling for you to kind of.
It's probably I don't know that the government knows everything. They know everything about the churches. Everything about the bank records, and that Chris was being investigated for some kind of criminal activity, and that I don't know anything about.
Right.
I don't know what's happening, and I'm sitting here going, what? It's just, it was unbelievable. I mean, the story just kept getting crazier. And so that meant that no, so she husband. So that meant that that really there was nobody else who was to than me, because I was one of the three leaders.
Right.
And basically, that I knew all the inner workings of the church, so that I get target. And they said, don't rule out the possibility of undercover agent drugs on you, like cocaine, and arresting me and putting me in jail and being forced to testify against the church, and all that kind of stuff. And I was like, like what? I'm like, what? I'm being like, bring down one of the world's largest ayahuasca churches that I love, and what to do. And so I how this could happen. It's like, it's plausible, that eliminate this mega that's showing the world that this medicine is really out there, the Netflix thing and everything. It's nothing like something like shutting it down in this way to dissuade from moving forward in opening up or requesting to church. And so I'm from Nebraska. I've never been in trouble with the law in my life, and so all of this was absolutely way beyond anything I've ever experienced or ever imagined. And so it stressful, scary, intimidating, and so I was told to get a federal criminal, and amazing guy. And he advised me to resign from the church. And so I did what they said. I resigned in a good turn. I just, I didn't want to cause any harm. I just wanted to get out of the way, out of trouble. I don't want to do anything illegal. And so, and my attorneys were the DEA, it's illegal, it's restricted, and that puts me in my professional line. So get the hell out of there. And so, time that I had received this invitation from a colleague of mine to lead these ayahuasca integration groups for some Russian folks who were at this indigenous community in Ecuador called Sacha Wasi. And so I just got to Sacha Wasi that way. And so, I thought like a great idea. It'd be really cool to have some space. In shock, I was, really scared, and I didn't want to get in trouble. And I had to leave the church and my whole world down, and every aspect of it, and professionally, all that. So, yes, and so everything flipped. And so, my criminal defense attorney, I think I'm going to go to Ecuador and help this retreat and do integration in the country. And I'm like, why? And he's like, if you're a target nation, that's illegal. That's like fleeing, and you'd be a fugitive. It's like this shit just keeps getting worse and worse and worse. It's like this is not happening. And he's like going, yeah, you go to the airport and they can arrest you and put you in handcuffs. And it's up, and he walks over to his office window. This is in downtown Miami. His window, and he says, "See that building down there?" He said, "That's the Miami jail. That's where they're gonna take you. If you're, if you're in the country, or if you're, get arrested at the airport." And I'm like, shit, am I paying me? It's like, I don't know what to say. This cannot be happening. And so, I was devastated. So my attorney went, got on the horn for hours with the DEA and the federal authorities, and really just, am I a target of a criminal investigation? Am I being a risk if I, will I get arrested if I travel? He made guns and made sure that they had his contact information. They had all this guy is here's where he's going to be. This is what he's going to do. I need him. We're cooperative. We're not unfriendly. Hostile witness. Or no, I didn't watch Maverick or whatever those suits or those lawyers know about this legal stuff. And so it was this incredibly intense criminal investigations and going to jail, and you can't travel. And he told me that they said I'm not a target. I can go on that airplane to go to Ecuador. I'm going, you go through, and I'm like, when are they coming? Where's the dogs? And it's like all of my spiritual training and centering everything. I was afraid. Afraid. I was scared, and it's like, try to look like you're not scared, and walking through the air. Is this it? Am I going to get in trouble? You know, I mean, we would be at Soul Quest, and you know, we would overhead, and we'd be like, they'd be circling. A lot of times it was like news camera doing like the traffic
News.
report or something. Soul Quest, and be like, oh shit, it's a raid. You know, we're gonna get. And it's like I don't want that in my life. I don't want my life ruined. You know, it was just and you know, so it was not tell. I don't need to talk. I just didn't need to. When I stepped back, I didn't need to risk any of the other legal from talking about things that.
Right.
So my advice, you know, be quiet. You know, my advice was just be quiet. So.
And then you laid low for a while. You laid low for quite a while in the jungle, and you worked up with another tribe down there.
Wasi.
You've created some stuff. You created stuff similar to what you created at the church that you left. Very
absolutely,
similar.
absolutely. Mm-hmm. So you know, I don't think laying low. I've been so busy here. You know, as soon as I got here, I did like 11 medicine, plant medicine stuff.
Yeah.
But you know, I mean, here, the similarities here, that we have a medical team here. So now we're deep in the jungles. You know, here in the Amazon Ayahuasca ceremony here, we have MDs, we've got paramedics, we've got licensed people, we got people experienced. You know, this sort of thing, which is great. Plus, we've got these yachuks. You know, these for shaman. You know, these are 50 generations of yachuks. These are the whole space and ceremonies, and so you know, this has been interesting. The work has been to extinction, cultural extinction, and so you know, building infrastructure. Following me on Facebook, you've seen all the posts. So getting clean water, we put in an entire water filtration system. Now they have, I mean, we take these things for granted. They'd spend 6 hours in the day washing laundry. You know, you have a retreat with 17 people. That's a lot of time in the
room. Just want to cup right there.
Bring it.
Yeah.
We froze here. Okay.
Yeah,
you froze for 1 sec. So why don't we talk about this? I mean, we're gonna.
Yeah, because we're gonna be bringing you on regularly.
Yeah.
Because
so we can stop.
Yeah. No, let's keep going.
We're gonna keep going. We're gonna keep going.
Well, let's talk a little bit about like what we're planning on doing coming up in the next couple weeks. Like on Tuesdays, maybe you want to start something, and maybe some churches.
Okay.
And, you know.
So this is all going to be chopped up, edited.
Yeah.
Well, we'll just keep going.
Yeah, I'm really glad that you got your you were able to speak your voice. You know, I think that's really important for everybody to be able to speak their voice and have a voice. So
that's the platform that
that's the platform that we're creating.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, and I love it, and I will always be connected to my Soul Quest. I don't have any hard feelings against Soul Quest. I mean, Soul Quest is a beautiful place. You know, people come and grow and take the medicine, and I can't be there because of these things, and
it's the mothership.
I'm so happy to reconnect with you guys, and I first got here. It was this different, and so we all grow.
Yeah, we all grow.
So I'm real happy to be doing the integration on Tuesday at 2, and so there's going to be a post with Dr. Scott doing it, jungle integration, and
We love it.
that'll be, I
froze right there.
Yeah, we froze up.
Yeah, so I think it's telling us we need to wrap it up. Yeah.
Well, listen, we're gonna be talking a lot about the Tuesdays at 2. We're gonna be bringing that through the plant medicine path.
I'll let everybody know more about
Sundays,
that.
You were freezing. You froze there. Yeah.
Froze. Okay.
Yeah, but we can hear. You can definitely hear you. So we're gonna probably talk a little bit more next week and present more next week about the Tuesday integration calls.
And then Sunday service. We're gonna start our. You want to talk just a little bit about that? We're gonna be collaborating.
Absolutely. Sunday.
Yeah. I mean, we had the Sunday service. We had the A team. I mean, just some great people. And I missed them so much. And these are leaders in the proud of them. And so we're going to be coming back together to put on Sunday church service that is going to be the evolution of it's the what do we call it, psychedelic Sundays with Dr. Scott.
I love it.
Church of the Sacred Plants.
I love it so much. So
I mean, we all have approaches to spirituality, and it's like
we do though,
come together and hopefully encourage each other and support each other in and continue on the plant medicine path. Bringing in some of the be there.
We're here.
Really looking forward to it. Not sure exactly when that's starting, but that's going to be coming up pretty soon. So keep for any posts. Stay tuned.
You don't always need a building to have a church, right? A church is just a foundation of the people with the same religious or spiritual beliefs. So we want to create a church of community.
We are the church. You are the church. The church is really just it's a place, a way of worshiping. To share and commune and really gather. And when we come together, we're so much, stronger, united, and especially in this time, politically, there's so much going on. It's probably going to continue. And so having a spiritual community that, opens us up, when the guys in these plant medicine ceremonies, it's not like you can put the genie back in the bottle. I see a different reality now, and everything they told us was lies. And so now we're like going, I am the judge. I am the responsible for deciding what I think, how I respond to the thoughts that I think. I'm responsible, and I'm the one who is the experiencer. And so it's a collaboration. So we learn these things together. About we're all walking each other home, and I know I've done gram mushroom journey, and everything changed for me, and I saw the reality, and everybody's lying to us. We are meant to be stupid that buy this crap and eat this crap and drink this crap. Our distractions and our technologies and the chemtrails, and all of these things that keep us enslaved. And so I'm liberated, and I think that is bringing us all home together. And so And I'm really grateful because every time I'm involved in anybody's path forward too,
Right.
you know, we're all one.
Right.
And, you know,
We're
especially
also
like with
educating.
my,
You know, we're also educating the community while we're doing this at the same time.
He froze on us. I bet he'll be back.
also what? Yeah, so
We're educating,
we're about
educating the community. Yeah, we're freezing up here, so yeah.
Yeah, so we're about ready to have a summer thunderstorm or.
I see that. I see
are
that.
too.
We are too.
Scott, thank you so much.
Yep.
More of all of this through the plant medicine path. We are coming together.
I think people are happy to see you back. I think they're happy to see your beautiful smile, your beautiful soul, your beautiful spirit, and the way you just present the message.
So we appreciate you.
Thank you.
Thank you. I'm being of service. So, yeah, God bless you, and thank you so much. And you know, remember that this you, each and every one of you, showing up as the very highest versions of yourself and doing the work, so that we can show up as this divine being expressed. Aho, everybody.
Aho.
Thank you.